Hey, everybody. On tonight's Power Perspective, I want to talk about taking responsibility for your assumptions. Okay, this is going to be some really profound information, and I think it's something that, a lot of people really need to consider because I see a lot of people being really upset with other people about the assumptions that they've made when those assumptions turn out to be wrong. Now, it's not completely fair to just blame someone else for your assumptions when they turn out to be wrong. Okay? There is a part where, a guy can, or a girl, anybody, can allow you to assume, okay, and not stop you from assuming. And that's their responsibility in it. But your responsibility is when you're assuming. So let's get into what I mean by that, okay? When he said he didn't want a relationship, but you assumed he didn't mean it. You assumed he would want one later. You see? So then later on, when you find out that he doesn't, and you see that this is really going nowhere, or that he really meant he didn't want a relationship, and then you're mad at him and you're feeling played. When it's like, well, you that was your assumption. You assumed that. You really didn't have a reason to assume that. You made an assumption and it was wrong. So who's to blame for your wrong assumption? Why is he a bad guy now for your wrong assumption? Or he said he wasn't ready for a relationship, and you assume that when he is ready, it will be with you. That's an assumption. Okay, because him saying he's not ready for a relationship is saying just that. Okay? It's not saying, but when I am, I'm going to be with you, or anything like that. You totally assume that. Because he could be saying that to you, knowing that ultimately, when he's ready, he's not going to want to be in a relationship with you. But he's telling you he's not ready now. It's not saying who he's going to want to be with when he is ready. And when someone tells you that they're not ready for a relationship, and then, if you tell someone that and then they continue, you yourself could even make an assumption that, okay, well, they understand there's not a relationship happening here and I'm not ready for that. So they may not feel obligated to have to, go deeper into it. Like, well, when I am, it probably won't be you. Because you kind of think that person might be okay with, because that person may be okay with what this is. Okay, so when a person says that, you don't want to assume that whenever they're ready, it's going to be with you. Or when someone never said you two were together, but you feel like they're kind of acting like you are, so you assume you're in a relationship. And then when you find out that you're not, you're upset. And it's like, well, what will make you think you're in a relationship? Okay. That person could just enjoy being around you. It doesn't mean that they necessarily want to be with you. Or when a person never said that they had certain feelings for you, but you dissect all of their little behaviors and you assume that they do. That's still an assumption. Okay, you're assuming that. So then when you find out that their feelings aren't that way for you, then you're upset about it. And it's like, well, you assumed that to begin with. And here's another one that I see a lot. You feel a strong connection or resonance with someone, and then you assume that they feel it too. When you're completely in your own experience, and then you just assume that the other person is having the same experience. Why would you assume that? And the quickest way is to ask the person. I talk to a lot of people who assume that other people are having these connections. And one way you can tell that you know that you're just lying to yourself or you're in denial and making assumptions, you won't go to that person and say what you're saying to me. Okay, if these feelings are like this and this is what it is, go say that to them. Because if it's a real connection and it's a strong connection like you feel that it is, then there should be no problem talking about that with the other person. And they would be able to acknowledge it and talk about this strong connection between the two of you just the same. But a lot of you won't do that because you're afraid to, because a part of you is just in denial. And you know better than to go to that other person and say what you're saying. So all of this stuff that you're saying about what it is, act like it's that with that person. Say that to that person. And a lot of people won't do that because deep down inside of themselves, they know that it's not that. If you're thinking that, a person who doesn't want a relationship is going to want one at some point, go say that to them. Say, you know what? I know you said you didn't want a relationship, but I really think that you feel this way towards me and that ultimately you will want a relationship with me. Go say that to them. See how it goes. Okay? If you're dealing in truth and light, you should have no problem. Put the light on what you're hiding in darkness. Put a light on what you're saying to other people and what you're really thinking about this connection. Act like it with that person. Truth should have no problem with light. If it's the truth, it should have no problem being brought out into the open in front of them. And then here's another thing. Because someone felt a certain way at one moment in time does not mean they will always feel that way. Okay? Your assumptions are not facts. And your feelings are not facts. I don't understand why people think that. Feelings are not facts. Feelings are emotions, energy in motion. It is moving energy. Okay, it doesn't stay the same. It's a moving energy. So you can feel different ways in different moments. There are times where a person did feel a certain way. Okay, but that doesn't mean they feel that way now. And so you're assuming that because they were interested in you or liked you or felt whatever they felt or whatever you had, you assume that that feeling is always there. That is a wrong assumption to make. Okay, because if they're acting like that feeling is no longer there, it probably isn't. Okay, so don't assume, don't make assumptions, because what happens is your assumptions are based off of your expectations. And when those assumptions turn out to be wrong, you're going to be upset. Making assumptions is really just breaking your own heart. You're setting yourself up to break your own heart. Don't make assumptions. And someone's feelings can change. Okay? They could, it's just the way it is. People's feelings change. So could you imagine if every person you ever felt a certain way about just held on to that, like you'll always feel that way about them? You don't even feel the same way about every person in your life that you once felt. You guys have friends that you once thought were great friends, that you just love to pieces, that you don't think the same, you don't feel the same way about them anymore. That it happens. You don't always stay feeling the same way about someone. So don't think that because that feeling, the person can be being honest in the moment, that's how they feel in this moment. But that doesn't mean that's how they're going to feel in the next moment, because emotions are energy in motion. Okay? So that's that, guys. I hope it was beneficial, something to think about. Talk to you later. Bye.